It's time to brag, be rich and generous. Brag Radio is hosted by best-selling real estate investing author Larry Goins and co-host Kandas. For the next hour, they'll show you proven and effective ways you can be successful in real estate. From the WBT studios, the flagship station of the Brag Radio Network, here are your hosts, the rock stars of real estate, Larry and Kandas.
I really feel like with that intro, I should learn to play an instrument. Is that bad? I'm just going to have to pick an air instrument that you guys don't have already. That's what I'm going to have to do.
Yeah, well, I feel like I need to bring in a guitar and an amp or something, you know?
I need to do something because I sound really good on an electric guitar in my head. But
my head?
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like that when I pick it up.
I actually gave you a couple lessons one time.
You did, yeah.
Remember? Do you still have that guitar?
Yeah.
I'd buy that from you
No.
if you're not using it.
No.
That was a pretty nice guitar.
Even though, like, I'm left-handed and it's a right-handed guitar.
Well, you know what? I'm
Just play it
left-handed, but
upside
I play
down.
it right-handed.
I don't play
I'm
right-handed.
not a Jimi Hendrix kind of
I'll play it
person.
upside down. It doesn't feel right the other way. Anyway, this is a show about real estate.
Occasionally.
Real estate investing. Occasionally. Hey, but
Investing
we're giving you guys insight into our personal selves. That's important, right? For you guys to know that we are real people just like you.
As opposed to...
Gummy bear people.
Moving right along.
Yeah.
All right, so, if you're just joining us for the first time, Brag Radio Network, Brag stands for Be Rich and Generous. Be rich
generous.
and generous. Okay? We teach people how to invest in real estate, and then we want you to go out and be generous with your blessings.
Yeah, you can only spend so much.
That's true. That is true. How much is enough, right? So, anyway, so I'm really excited about today's show because Kandas has told me that she has a ton of questions that have come in. And, guys, you can always email Kandas, info@bragradio.com, and submit your questions. You can call the office, 877-LARRY-GO, 877-LARRY-GO, and get your questions answered. You can get a free investor's kit that will help get you started, jump started into real estate investing in. You can take a tour of our office, see a real working office. You'll meet Andrea, you'll meet Sylvia, you'll meet Kandas and myself if we happen to be there, if Kandas is there with her game leg. So you might see her hobbling around with her brace.
Yeah, I'm still healing, only a couple weeks out.
And I may or may not be there because Kandas keeps me on the road a lot. We have a lot of speaking, I call them speaking gigs, but, where she sends me out to speak at expos and conventions and, different real estate investors association groups. And there you have it. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So good. So, Kandas, I know you got a ton of questions that have come in.
Well, not only come in, but, we still got ones from our last 3-day, which we're getting ready to have. You guys have one more week to get registered for the DFW event if you haven't already. So other than that, we'll be in Charlotte.
It's getting close to full, I believe.
We may not have. I don't know if we have any seats or not. Honestly,
call and find out.
Yeah, just call and ask. The
Kandas
guys will know. Somebody will know. All right. So this one, I don't know if it was emailed. It's just on here, but it's asking. Oh, this is a good one. Why don't you buy in tax liens? Why don't you buy in that sector?
Wow, that's a really, really good point. And I don't buy tax liens. And I don't talk about tax liens.
You don't talk about them.
I don't talk
good
about them.
Good or bad, we don't talk about them.
Well, I'm getting ready to.
Apparently.
So, but I don't really talk about tax lien. Anyway, first of all, I think I need to explain what is a tax lien, okay?
Explain it, Lucy.
So, whenever someone doesn't pay their property taxes, okay, then there's some states that are a tax lien state, and some states that are a tax deed state, okay? So if you don't pay your taxes, okay, then the local government, can sell that tax bill to an investor, and they will pay them an interest rate on that tax bill. That's called a tax lien. And the owner of the property may have anywhere from 6 months to a couple of years, 3 years maybe, to redeem that. In other words, they can pay it off, pay all the taxes, and get to keep their property.
Hold on one second. I've got 2 questions now just with what you've said so far. Local government, how local? Is it the county? Is it the state?
Yeah, no, it's not the state.
It's the county.
It's where the property
is it the city?
Where the property is located.
So the county.
It's where the property is located.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the local government is actually the county that it's in.
It's your property tax. It's your local property tax collector, right? It's your local, and usually those are at the county level.
Right, county level.
So, so with the tax lien, you would get a tax lien certificate, which would give you an interest rate on your tax lien, right? Let's say there was $5,000 in delinquent taxes. You pay $5,000 for that, and then they're going to pay you. Different states have different rates of returns. Some states are 2, 3, 4, 5, 10%. Some states are 18% that they pay you.
Does the local government set the time frame as to how long a homeowner has to pay the taxes, or is that state regulated like what you were just talking about?
I think it's local. I think it's county, but they're all different, okay? Now, that's a tax lien. What a tax deed is, if you're delinquent and they send you notification, you don't pay it, they could literally sell your property to that buyer, okay? And now, in some cases, you're going to have a redemption period where you could buy that property back for that tax bill. Now, if that tax deed buyer sold your property, they would have to sell it subject to the redemption, okay, to you redeeming it. So they could buy it for $5,000, sell it for $20,000, but if you paid it off, you might be able to, you would get that property back as long as you paid it back, okay?
Okay.
They would have to unwind that transaction. Now, it's a great way to earn money, earn an interest rate on your money, because with tax liens, okay, with tax liens, you do get an interest rate. Now, in some areas, some states, some areas, what they'll do is, let's say the tax bill was $1,000, okay? And let's say that interest rate that they're going to pay is, let's say, 8%, okay?
So the tax bill's $1,000.
The tax bill's $1,000 and the interest rate is 8%. Well, what could happen is you get people that are bidding against each other, and they'll bid more than the $1,000 to be able to get that. So what that's basically going to do is lower the interest rate. In other words, let's say if they bid $1,100, the interest rate, your yield is going to be 8% at $1,000.
Right.
But if you're getting 8% on $1,000 and you bid $1,100, you're only getting 8% on $1,000.
Right.
So, having said that, you're not really getting 8% on your whole investment.
Gotcha.
So, in other words, what if it bid up and you ended up paying $2,000 for that tax lien? Well, 8% of $1,000 is going to be 4% of $2,000. So you're really only going to get a 4% return. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
still more return though than you would get with your money sitting in a bank somewhere.
That's true, but the investors that we work with that are passive investors, we're getting them 6, 8, sometimes 10%. Okay, we've even sold them
passive. They're not having to do the work of going and bidding.
Yeah,
and all
we've
that
even
stuff.
sold them notes and properties that had turnkey tenants in place, and they're earning 10, 12% return on their money passively, right?
Right.
So, so here's the reason that I don't buy tax liens. Okay, think about this. Even if you're earning 15% return, okay. If you're buying a $500 tax bill here, a $1,000 tax bill here, a $1,500 tax bill here, $2,000 or $3,000 tax bill there, you've got to invest a lot of money to make any kind of a decent return. I mean, yeah, the percentage is there. Let's say you invest $1,000 and you make 18% return in a year. What's 18% of $1,000? It's $180. That's no return. I'm going to spend that on dinner out with my wife. Right?
Right.
So that's not a return on your investment. You got to be able to have deal flow. You got to be able to have velocity of capital, and you got to be able to put a good amount of money to work. Now, here's the other reason. Well, I tell you what, we got to go to a break. So when we come back, I'm going to tell you the main reason. Now, what I've already given you is enough reason not to invest in tax liens. But whenever we come back, I'm going to tell you the main reason that I don't do it at all, and I don't recommend it. Call 877-LARRY-GO and get your free investor's kit.
Yeah, get the investor's kit or schedule an office tour. Ask about our next upcoming 3-day event. There's so much that we can do to help you guys get started or help you kind of further where you are. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Bragg Radio. This is Kandas.
And Larry.
And Larry.
What up? All right, so in the last segment, Kandas asked a question that had come in about why we do not buy tax liens or tax deeds, tax lien certificates or tax deeds. And those are basically, just to kind of reiterate a little bit or to recap, a tax lien certificate is when a person stops paying their taxes, their property taxes, okay, and then that tax lien certificate gets sold. In other words, so the city or the county can get paid off. They get paid their money right now to use for whatever they needed in the county to pay for, all their county stuff.
And they don't take a discount on what the tax bill is. It's just what it is. It is what it is, and you pay. If you are an investor wanting to do that, you pay what is on the tax bill. There's no negotiating.
That's right. And then the homeowner has a certain amount of months and or years to redeem that and pay off the taxes, but they have to pay a specific interest rate. It could be anywhere from 2, 3, 5, 10% up to 18%.
The homeowner does.
The homeowner
to get
does.
It back.
Yes. Now, before the break, I said one of the reasons I don't do this is you can't get your enough capital working to be able to make a decent return.
Yeah, 18% on $1,000 is $180 a year.
That's $180.
Right.
You gotta buy hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these to get any kind of a decent return. And quite frankly, there's a lot of hedge funds out there that buy them just for the return. Okay? They don't care if they get the property back or not. Okay? But as an investor, the only reason I would buy a $1,000 tax lien is if I could eventually own the $30,000 property.
Property, right.
Okay? So here's the main reason that I don't buy it. And in addition to not being able to get enough capital working and having to have a spreadsheet to keep up with hundreds of these deals, the main reason I don't buy them is 99.9% of them redeem anyway. You're going to get paid off. It's going to be very rare that you actually get the property. Now, don't get me wrong. When you get a property, you might get a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 house that you only have $1,000 in, right?
Right.
However, that's going to be very, very rare, all right? Very rare. So, but there are people out there that do it just for the returns. They don't mind keeping track of the spreadsheets.
We know some of them that solely invest in tax liens. That's all they do.
We do, but they have massive spreadsheets that they have to keep up with, and some of them pay off and redeem. I know a couple of people that do it, and they get paid off every month by 2, 3, 4 of them, right, or more. So they have to keep track with all that. Now, you can do these in your retirement account, especially if you have a small amount in a retirement account and you're wanting to leverage it and get a good return on your money, and you only have $1,000 or $2,000, you could buy a tax lien or 3, right?
Depending on how much they get bid up. Now, how does the process work for you to be able to buy it? It's like the courthouse steps, like a situation like that?
Well, after that tax lien certificate, after the redemption period is over,
right,
then you can apply with the county to get the deed to the property, right? Because they never redeemed.
Do you know how long that takes?
Every county is different. It might be 3 months in one county. It might be 2 years. It might be
for them to actually turn over the deed,
right?
Like that.
Oh no, not for them to turn it over, but the redemption period. Oh
yeah,
different.
I know the redemption period is different. It's kind of based on the county, and all of them are different. I get that. But no, like once you apply to get the deed from the county, once the redemption period expires, the time frame for them to actually respond. I mean, it is local government, so I'm just wondering if it takes a long time too.
Well, it's not really a very long process because, it's once the time frame is over, you have the right to it. So it's not going to be any different than going down and recording a deed or something at the county recorder's office. It's not that big a deal.
Okay.
It's really not. So there you have it. So that's why I don't invest in tax lien certificates or in tax deeds, because you can't get enough money working to actually get a good return, and it's very, very, very rare you're actually going to even get the property anyway.
Okay. Makes sense. Let's see what else we got here. You like that one? Okay. Got a bunch of them. I was looking for any more that had to do with like why we don't do something. I mean, I've got pages of these things. So, all right, we'll go with this one. Since you did just talk about being able to do tax liens in your IRA, can you buy HUD houses in your IRA?
You know what? You can buy just about anything in your IRA except for certain collectibles and certain gold or certain coins, right? You can't buy certain collectibles or certain coins, but you can buy like U.S. minted coins. Like, what do they call that? Is it a Flying Eagle or Liberty or something? I don't know about
Liberty. I think it's Liberty coins.
I don't know about much about those kind of coins, but because a lot of people say you need to hedge against inflation for gold, gold and silver in the event of an emergency or a catastrophe or something. But let me tell you something. When something like that happens, my opinion, people are going to use barter anyway. They're not going to take their gold. Who's going to take the gold anyway and the silver, okay? Most people, it's been proven over years that when there's an economic crash or economic, devastation of some sort, that people don't turn to gold and silver. What they do is they barter with each other, right? So you don't have to worry about that. But let's get back to the question.
Buying HUD houses in your IRA.
You can buy HUD houses. You can buy MLS-listed houses. You can buy houses from for sale by owners. You can buy tax liens in your IRA. You can buy notes. You can buy a house and turn around and sell it with owner financing, and then you'll have the note in your IRA. You can even buy options. For example, Kandas, I could buy an option on one of your rental houses for, say, $50,000, and then I could go out and find somebody to buy that house from me for $60,000. And even though I might have only given you $500 for the option to buy it for $50,000, once I buy your house for $60,000, or once I get somebody to buy it for $60,000, I've got a $10,000 spread on that house. So I just took $500 and I made $10,000 on buying a house on an option. And you can put those options in your retirement account as well. Another good thing that you can do is you can actually, let's say you only have $500 in your IRA, all right? You could partner with someone. In other words, I could partner with somebody to buy a house for $50,000, and I could make them put up $49,500, and I could only put in $500. But because I found the deal, we're going to be a 50-50 partner. Maybe their IRA could partner with my IRA, okay? And one or the other of us would collect the payments and then split it out, because all the payments have to go back into the IRA based on however you set that up. You could also get a loan. I could go find a house for $50,000, put $500 down, and borrow $49,500 as a loan. Now, if I borrow the money, I'm going to pay what's called UBIT, U-B-I-T, Unrelated Business Income Tax. And it's just a tax that you pay on the borrowed money, okay, on the income that comes in as a percentage of it being borrowed money. And that's okay, because whatever money does come in there and what's left over after the taxes, it's still in your retirement account, all right? And it can continue to grow tax-free or tax-deferred, depending on if you have a Roth or a traditional IRA. You can also buy notes. You can buy defaulted notes, right? These are called non-performing notes. Let's say somebody owes $50,000 on a house, but they haven't made a payment in 2 years. You could buy that $50,000 note for maybe $5,000 or $10,000. And then you do a workout with them where you get them to start paying again, or do a loan modification, get them to start paying. Or if they don't do that or won't do that, you can foreclose on the property and then turn around and sell it for $50,000. And you might have only had $5,000 or $10,000 in that house. You can buy cars and resell them. I know people who have bought racehorses in their IRA.
Oh, wow.
So they've turned around and bought racehorses, and made money on it and then sold them, cars, equipment, just about anything.
Hey, you guys give us a call if you want to know more. We've got some IRA information in the investors kits that we send out to you, so it can explain this in a little bit more detail. Get signed up to come to a 3-day event. Same thing. We go into it a lot more detail. Sometimes we even have one of our our 401k, self-directed 401k IRA partners come out and speak to you guys. So give the office a call, 877-LARRY-GO, and we'll get you set up with an investor's kit, maybe a tour of the office, and maybe one of the next 3-day events. 877-LARRY-GO. Welcome back to Brag Radio. This is Kandas here with Mr. Goins.
What's up? How you doing?
I don't think much has changed with them since the last segment.
Much has changed with what?
You say what's up after we come back from every break.
I do?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm in the same exact
I'm
spot.
a creature of habit. I'm a creature. That's another Ernest T. Bass saying, right?
Yeah, it is. That's funny.
That's awesome. So, last segment we were talking about tax liens, tax deeds, certificates, right?
Right, and then being able to do HUD, houses in your IRA.
Right, whether it's HUD or anything else. And I actually just ran down a whole list. You can buy just about anything in your retirement account. I mean, think about it. Mitt Romney has hundreds of millions of dollars in his Roth IRA because he invested into businesses, businesses that just the value blew up. And now
so the interest that he was getting from his investment in was just in his IRA
not
already.
only the interest, but the value that it blew up to, is now worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's in a Roth IRA. So he'll never, ever, ever pay taxes on it when he pulls that money out.
How will he? How will that wealth transition? How will his IRA wealth transition to, let's say, future generations?
Well, you know what? They say the best kind of IRA is a Roth IRA. That's not true.
It's inherited.
You got it. The best kind of IRA is an inherited Roth IRA. Now, I wasn't fortunate enough to have an inherited Roth IRA, but think about this. Mitt Romney's kids, grandkids, whoever he leaves his Roth IRA to,
right,
they will be able to take an annual distribution tax-free based on their life expectancy. So let's say, just to keep it simple, let's say one of his grandchildren inherits it and they're 1 year old and the life expectancy is 81. Okay, so they have 80 years left, right?
Right.
And let's say there's, whatever it is, 8 million, okay, that is left. They'll be able to take 8 million for that one child. You take 8 divided by 80, whatever that number is, right? Then they'll probably get, either $8,000 or $80,000 that first year, tax free.
Just
right?
As a distribution.
Tax free as a distribution.
Yep.
Now here's the thing. You want to go from the oldest to the youngest, but think about this. If the more years you have left, the less you're going to be able to take out each year tax-free.
Right.
So it needs to be a lot of money if you're going to live on it in your younger years. But the older you get and the less life expectancy you have, like, for example, say there's $8 million left in it and your life expectancy is 2 years. You got to draw $4 million out that next to the last year. Mm-hmm. Now, but the good news is that $4 million is tax-free.
Yeah.
It's tax-free. So the best kind of IRA, Lynn's doing the math, aren't you? How much was it?
Do you have one?
Was it $8,000?
You're going to get one, though, aren't you? You have an
awesome.
inherited IRA?
Oh, no, not inherited. Just 2 different IRAs.
That's awesome.
Ah.
That's awesome.
We know some people that are selling
100,000.
inherited IRA options.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
That's the big thing now is people who have IRAs that are, for lack of a better term, about ready to kick the bucket.
Expire. Their life expectancy is nearing the end.
They're selling the beneficial interest in some of their IRA.
Maybe they don't have family.
You don't. Well, not only that, but let's say you have a couple $1 million in your Roth IRA, okay? But you wanted to, and it's a seasoned IRA, meaning you've had it for at least 5 years.
Yep.
You could sell, you could even sell, okay, I'll sell you $1,000 worth of beneficial interest for $5,000. Even though there's only $1,000, in that IRA, whoever gets it could grow it over their life expectancy and have a tax-free income for life.
Wow.
Is that crazy or what? Even with only $1,000, I showed you how to do it.
It was the craziest thing I'd ever heard of. I was like, are you serious? People, like, this is...
People are selling them.
Yeah.
They're selling the beneficial interest.
Yeah, $1,000 beneficial interest for $5,000.
So what
else they got to lose?
Yeah, you're gonna leave. You're gonna leave the bulk of it to your family, your kids or grandkids or whatever.
If you have them.
But you could peel off, say $10,000 here and sell $1,000 beneficial interest to 10 different people for however much money. And there's nothing wrong with doing that.
Nothing
It's
at all.
being done all the time now. That's one of the newest crazes out there.
Yeah.
In the investment world.
We just
of
heard,
real estate.
the first I'd heard about it was over the summer. It was ridiculous.
It's crazy. There's a whole network of people out there doing it.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
it's
is.
becoming like an actual thing. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't a book written on it sometime soon, or like some kind of a home study jumpstart something or another that comes out about buying. We do not have time to start any more projects.
That's true. It would be a good one to start, though.
It is. It would be a good one if you knew about it, and because it's very interesting. It's a really interesting topic.
It really is.
And how much is sitting in IRA assets?
You know what?
Billions and billions of dollars.
Absolutely. It's kind of funny. There's a lot of assets out there in IRAs, especially in self-directed IRAs, that are not being used.
Yeah, they're just sitting there.
Yeah, it's almost half. It's almost half. Actually, one of the largest custodians out there, they told us recently that they probably have about $480 million just sitting in cash.
It's not
in
even being
self-directed
used.
retirement accounts. And that's all money that could be used to fund real estate deals, to partner on real estate deals, to buy real estate, to buy notes, to buy tax liens if that's what you want to do, to be a hard money lender or a private money lender. It's crazy.
That's a lot of money just to be sitting there.
Isn't it?
I need to get some beneficial interest going.
Get you some beneficial interest.
I won't ever leave my mama, but I'm up for adoption.
That's funny. Why are you looking at me when you say that?
I shouldn't have to, because I'm already in your downline. I've earned that spot.
Might not be by blood, but you've earned it, right?
I have blood, sweat, and tears in that relationship.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
I'm in that downline.
That is funny, but there is so much you can do with your IRA. You can be an active investor.
Who was
you
it
can
at
be a
our
passive investor?
Somebody at one of our last events does. They use their IRA to resell some kind of medical equipment. They buy it, refurbish it, and then resell it all in the IRA.
Yeah, it was a guy
You can
at one
do
of our
anything through
events. He actually knows medical equipment because he had been in the business in the past.
He was in the business for a long time.
So he knows like about X-ray machines and all that kind of equipment.
MRI machines and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I thought it was medical
He would
equipment.
find a deal on something somewhere, and then he would pick it up at a discount, and then he would turn around and sell it and make a profit all in his IRA.
He has a whole company built around it now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now, you remember, your IRA has to be separate from your company. But
Right.
because he knew what he was doing, it's no different than somebody being a stockbroker and knowing stocks, but then they still invest stocks in their IRA.
Right.
It's no different. They know what they're doing.
Right.
Right? So they just take advantage of that knowledge and are able to pick up equipment. Like I said, you can buy cars, you can buy boats, you can buy motorcycles, guns, in your IRA, whatever, tangible, intangible,
Golf carts.
collectibles, golf cart.
I know somebody that's wanting to do that.
If you can buy and sell at a profit, so you can do options, you can do notes, you can do a tremendous amount of stuff. Now, we've got a book in the Investor's Kit that's going to show you a little bit about that, right?
Yeah, we do. And there's one or two different companies that are in the Investors Kit that talks about how to use your IRA, your self-directed IRA, for stuff like that. So if you guys want a copy of those things and the rest of the stuff that comes in the Investors Kit, give us a call, 877-LARRY-GO. We'll get you set up with that, either the digital or the physical, if you're close enough to come by and schedule an office tour. Get registered for our next upcoming 3-day event in DFW or in Charlotte, or maybe even Orlando at the end of the year. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Bragg Radio. This is Kandas. Got Larry over there walking around playing the air keyboard right now. So if you guys have been... Here goes TJ with his air tambourine.
That's hilarious.
I love when he plays along.
That's
awesome. If you guys are new, this is where we highlight students and we bring forth kind of what they're doing with real estate and how they're being generous with their time and or blessings from real estate. So today we've got Aaron with us. Aaron, how are you?
If I were any better, I'd be in heaven, Kandas.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. You the man.
So upbeat. I love it.
That is great. We really, really appreciate you being on today on such short notice. It was awesome, but we wanted to get you on because you were at our event recently in Cleveland, Ohio, and it just blew me away, some of the stuff you're doing. And, you know, I mean, you're an inner circle student and you're out there making it happen. You're working the business. You're having fun and making money and enjoying life and enjoying your family. And that's just awesome. So, Aaron, why don't you do this? I'd like for you to start out and tell our listeners just a little bit about yourself and your real estate business.
Awesome. Well, I think that the first most important thing is when you're growing, you're investing in your wholesaling business, you have to have a why, you know, and my why is like, I have 5 kids, and the way kids spell love is T-I-M-E. And without more time for them, I mean, the more kids you have, the more time you need to spend with them. And I just, I love to wholesale because you can make more money in a short amount of time, and then you can have more time to spend with your family or whatever you're passionate about. You may be single, but you love mountain biking or doing different things. And this provides a great opportunity for you to get more out of life than in that factory worker or someone else that may be like a blue-collar worker or even a white-collar worker. You know, just really helps you use your time wisely when you're investing.
That's huge, man. I love that. And you know what? I've told people this for years and years. Money is just a tool that gives you the freedom to spend your time any way you want. And I love what you said about kids spell, you know, love, T-I-M-E. I love that.
Right.
That's awesome, man. Tell us about a typical kind of a wholesale deal that you would do, or maybe one of your last wholesale deals.
Well, one of the last ones that I did with a partner was acquisition from a HUD property of about $10,000. I think with closing costs, it might have been closer to $9,000. You know, because we got the credits at closing. So we sold it the same day. We closed it the same day. Double closed to owner occupant who paid $17,000. So we made about $8,000 to split in one day. Literally, I closed in the morning and reclosed with the owner occupants for just tickled pink about getting their first home. And that was about $8,000, and it was just in the afternoon we closed with them. And then that was just like from a contact, like my favorite waitress, and she like knew I invested in homes and I got her a good deal.
That's awesome. So you bought it and sold it the same day, aka real estate day trading. I love it, man.
Oh yeah.
I love it. Now, that's not the only kind of investing you do. You also work our Filthy Riches model. Tell our listeners a little bit about that.
Well, the best deal I've ever done, probably. We purchased another HUD home, actually. I forgot that was HUD, but it was about $19,000, and we got about $17,000 down, and we did a land contract with them for the rest, or payment plan, like a private money mortgage or something. And he had payments for about I don't know, maybe another $12,000. But the neatest thing was we were basically whole. We were just about made whole on the day of closing, and we closed out on the same day as well.
So what you're saying
we had
is
maybe $2,000 in it, and we got a note for like $12,000 plus interest.
Yeah, you bought it for 19, and you ended up selling it for a lot more than that because you negotiated a deep discount on it. So you sold it for probably what, 30 or something like that?
Yeah, about 30,000.
30,000, and then you got 17 down. So you only had a couple grand in the whole deal, right?
The holding costs were like next to nothing. I mean, the total acquisition cost, because we had his money to buy it, right?
That's huge. I love it. And then you got payments coming in every single month, right?
Right.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So that's the Filthy Riches model, where you buy cheap houses, you sell them for 3 to 6 times what you paid for them, and then you get some money down. You know, usually you're going to get about $3,000 to $5,000 down, but in this case, you got 17 down. So I love it. That's awesome. So now,
as much as you can, Larry.
Exactly. You're creating instant cash right now with day trading, and with the Filthy Riches, you're creating passive income. So, and I know you are really big on being generous. I know we spent a little bit of time with you at our 3-day in Cleveland recently. You're going to be coming down to the office soon. So, tell our listeners a little bit about some of the stuff. I know you told a story at the 3-day that just really touched me. Can you tell a little bit about what you're doing to brag, be rich and generous?
Well, earlier this year in April, my wife and daughter, I get a little choked up, but they were my wife's dream was to go on an overseas mission. Since she was like probably elementary school age, she just felt that calling and really wanted to she actually was a teacher, was her before we retired her, to raise our kids after just 4 years as a teacher. She just always has wanted that. I always had that dream. And when I heard it, my church is Southgate, and they said that they were going to go to Slovakia with the ministry Roma Learning to Fly, which is an educational ministry. And they actually like train parents to teach their kids when they're really young how to prepare for a test, because if they don't pass a test when they're very young, like around preschool or kindergarten age, they get put in the slow school. So it's kind of like a caste system, and they never really, catch up. And so, are looked at as successful in the eyes of that community. So it's kind of like a school for the people in poverty, or the people that don't speak that language. And it's really unfair because they take the test in the main language, but they speak a different language or a different dialect. So
right.
It's not fair. But anyways, so I was able to raise the support for that trip through the friends, family, and clients list of over $1,000. But we paid, as an investor, I was able to give the rest of that money to pay for her and my daughter to go there in April. And they had the time of their life. And, of course, a 13-year-old daughter get exposed to, helping like kids, and she was able to use her artistic gifts and talents. And, she did face painting over there. I got so many pictures of, they just had a wonderful time. And oh my God, they also on my Facebook, they are dancing in the streets, because there's internet and the time difference has made it hard to talk, but we got Facebook updates from one of the people on the missions trip, and they were like dancing. They practiced long time for like months, this dance, and they were dancing in the streets, and that's how they got people to come and, and be able to talk to them and eventually, give them these education boxes and get them tied into the program Roma Learning to Fly. But it was just awesome to see them dancing in the streets. So I love being rich and generous because my 13-year-old daughter got to dance in the streets in Slovakia.
That is awesome, man. That's good. And you got 4 more kids as well. And so I know you're going to do the same thing with them, help them to be able to learn to be rich and generous themselves.
Yes.
Man, that is awesome. That is awesome. We got a little less than a minute left. Aaron, would you do me a favor? What would you tell a new investor out there wanting to get started, scared to death, don't really know what to do? What would you suggest to them to do to get started in real estate?
All right, 3 things. Write down your 3 biggest goals, or your 3 goals you want to do first. You have to make a written plan for success. Map it out. Make a plan. Number 2, get an accountability partner. If you're in the Real Estate Investors Association in your area, or whoever you know and trust, like Larry always says, you need to have a trusted advisor, and share with them your goals, and maybe they can sharpen you, make them realistic. You need to set SMART goals. Okay, Google what that is, SMART, SMART goals. The T is, timing. You have to have a date you're going to get it done by, otherwise you don't get your butt in gear.
And number 3.
All right?
Real quick.
And then do it. Actions speak louder than words.
Awesome. Thanks, Aaron, for being on today. I really appreciate it.
For more information about what Larry and Kandas discussed on today's Brag Radio, leading the world to be rich and generous, go to bragradio.com. You can also call 877-LARRY-GO for a free investor's kit, or to schedule a tour of the office or get more information on upcoming events. That's 877-527-7946. Tune in again next Saturday as best-selling real estate investing author Larry Goins and co-host Kandas teach you the latest strategies and techniques the pros use to make money in real estate. It's Brag Radio, leading the world to be rich and generous on News 1110 99.3 WBT.